Question.
Remember Walter Mondale coming to the University of Kentucky on the anniversary of the Church Committee report that suggested maybe the CIA shouldn't be assassinating people. We don't want to lead countries. And one of the things Mondale said was that America can't kill all of its enemies, but it can create friends. So I'm wondering, in the 60 years, what is our friend index around the world of the United States, which is a national security issue, at least in Mondale's mind?
It is. No, it is a national security issue. I like to use, Machiavelli saying it's better to be feared than loved. And if you take that index, we're not as loved as we were before, but we're also not as feared. China is used to not have many friends. It is increasingly loved in terms of the number of friends it has around the world. And Europe has more friends and is less feared than when it was a colonial power. So the fear versus love index, is definitely changing. For us and for other countries, and we are in some ways in competition with them. So I'm not. I can't give you, can't count on my hands, whether we have more or less friends than before. But we should be out trying to make more friends, because it is what I call a geopolitical marketplace, where it's very hard to isolate countries anymore. You can't isolate even Cuba or Iran or Syria. If you make a list of every country that we, the United States, have labeled a rogue state, a supporter of terrorism, or just a mean country, and then you make a list of every country that China provides military, diplomatic, or financial backing to, it's the exact same list. So it's interesting. We have no choice but to try and build connections, relationships, and alliances around the world, because we can't pretend that if we aren't friends with someone, no one else will be, because someone else will easily step into that gap, whether it's China, Europe, Russia, or someone else. And one last point, since I have a chapter on this in my book, and it's certainly controversial, I think we should kill our enemies. I actually support assassinations, and that was a policy that we repealed in the Carter administration, and I think it's a welcome reversal that we've come back. I don't think it represents mental progress, psychological progress, that people like Gaddafi and Hussein and others remain in power for decades and decades, and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people starve and die. When the Libya situation broke out in early February, I think I was probably one of the first people on CNN who said, we should really assassinate him now. He's going to drag this out to the bitter end and take thousands of people down with him. This is not a guy who's going to take a golden parachute and go live in a resort in Sharm el-Sheikh or the south of France or something like that. You should absolutely, we should use our drones or whatever it is to assassinate people like that when we have the chance. With certain caveats in mind, such as, can we make friends on the ground in the interim and hopefully create some kind of basic stability in the aftermath. So in that case, you wouldn't just go and take out Kim Jong-il in North Korea, because you have absolutely no idea what would come next. But for people who know Libya, it was, we have known and could have known pretty well that if we got rid of Gaddafi, there would be some semblance of an organic order that would take shape there, which is exactly what has happened. And so, there's a much deeper explanation of it in my book, but if you want the bumper sticker version, just to rephrase your question, yes, we can kill our enemies, and sometimes we should.